The Sultanate of Oman is a country characterized by the breathtaking landscapes and the age old rich traditions, making it one of the most favorable Arab countries to visit. This small nation occupies the southeastern coast of the Arabian Peninsula. Oman has used its oil wealth to modernize the country, but at the same time, they've retained the age old traditions and culture. Oman for me isn't just another destination being ticked off my bucket list. It's what I still call home, where I was born and have spent the early years of my childhood at. Today, over 30 years later, I am back here to explore the best of the Sultanate and show you why Oman is so special and should be on your bucket list. Thanks to the late Sultan Qaboos, who is responsible for transforming Oman, which was once an underdeveloped provincial backwater, into a thriving and prospering economy. And nowhere is this more evident than its capital city, Muscat. And welcome from Oman. I've set foot on the soil after God knows how many years, and I cannot even describe what this feels like. So before I break into tears of joy, let's quickly go and check into my hotel in Muscat in Oman. I picked Centara in Muscat for my first 3 days stay here that comes with extremely warm hospitality, comfortable rooms, a super helpful staff, and good food. Of course, there's other amenities like a pool to cool off the summer heat and a gym. Muttrah is a port town and the capital of Muscat. And like most port cities, it has a rich history of commerce and trade. I started the day by visiting the Muttrah souq to find out more about the Omani history and how it influences the culture so much even today. Muttrah souq is one of the oldest souq or markets of the Middle East, and the minute you step foot here, you are welcomed with the fragrance of frankincense. Before the discovery of oil, frankincense was Oman's most lucrative trade. The resin comes from a specific tree, and Oman is one of the only ones to grow this. The souq sells lots of Omani products, and I wanted to tell you guys a bit more about one such item, the khanjar. The khanjar is a defining symbol of Oman. You'll find it on the Omani notes, on the roads, and even on various governmental buildings. One of the oldest shops in the souq, Ali Baba, has an incredible collection of items and even khanjars. It's amazing to see how proud the Omanis are of their heritage. The Arab Gulf states are home to a wide range of historical structures, and these buildings represent the region's rich history of its past inhabitants. And in case of forts and watchtowers in particular, its numerous lines of defense against aggressors and invaders. In Oman alone, there are approximately 1,000 surviving historical forts, castles, and watchtowers, and over the decades, many of them have been restored, rehabilitated, and reopened to local and international tourists to showcase the country's rich history. Built by the Portuguese in the 1580s, this fort dominates the eastern end of Muttrah Harbour. Used for military purposes, it has finally reopened to visitors. There's not much to see inside, although the three-tower structure may be one of interest to military buffs. Even if you have fort fatigue, it's fun to scale the flank of the building for a good view of Muttrah and the ocean. But there's a beautiful cafe here that you can sit by and enjoy a panoramic view, the Muttrah Fort Cafe, and that's what I'm going to do. The entrance to the port of Muscat is framed by two impressive forts, Al Jalali Fort to the east and Al Mirani Fort to the west. Perched high on the rocks, the forts look out over the sparkling blue waters of the Gulf of Oman. In the past, these forts guarded the port of Muscat, and today you can come visit here if, like me, you're a sucker for some good panoramic views. So I am at the Muscat corniche, which is like a promenade across which you can come and take a stroll in the evening. It's just so incredibly beautiful to come here in the evening. It's very peaceful. You can hear the call to prayer, which is an indication of the last prayer for the day. And you can see the locals with their families just taking a walk here. You can see the local Omani boats behind. It's just such a beautiful place to come and end a busy day at. Definitely should come here during the sunset. Muttrah stretches along an attractive corniche of interlaced buildings and mosques that look spectacular at sunset, when the light casts shadows across the mountains, while pavements, lights and fountains invite an evening stroll. You can hear the call to prayer from the nearby mosque, signaling the final prayer for the day. It's very atmospheric and you'll feel like you are truly in the heart of Arabia. A great example of Sultan Qaboos's legacy, who sadly passed away in 2020, is the Grand Mosque in Muscat. This mosque took 6 years to build and was a gift from the Sultan to his people. It's made of 3 lakh tons of Indian sandstone and can house 25,000 worshippers at a time. So you can imagine the size of the mosque. Religion is at the heart of Oman, and the Omanis practice a moderate branch of Islam called Ibadism. The faith underpins many of Oman's values such as tolerance and open-mindedness, which is rightly reflected in the incredible hospitality of the Omani people. The hand-woven Persian carpet to the large crystal chandeliers all speak largely of the opulence of this mosque, and the men's prayer room is as beautiful as the outside of the mosque. This carpet alone took 4 whole years to build. Surprised to know that the Sultan did not have any children of his own, because he believed that the children of Oman were his children, and this is one specific reason why he built this mosque that you see behind me as a gift to the people of Oman. Omani Halwa has attained a cult status, especially amongst foodies, and if you ever visit the country, you simply cannot leave without trying it first. The traditional Omani Halwa is a combination of eggs, sugar, corn flour, and clarified butter to produce a gelatinous sweet. It is then flavored with spices such as cardamom and saffron. But the addition of rose water from the Jabal Akhtar region, honey or luban, is the choice of the halwa maker that adds a delicate and delectable fragrance and flavor. Although every family has their own secret recipe of this mouth-watering sweet, a dish full of Omani halwa cooked even without a slight variation is a pleasure to devour. Okay, so considered a symbol of Omani hospitality, Omani halwa is really a very traditional take on how it's made. And there are different kinds of halwa. As you can see in front of me, hum aaye hai Al Daymaniyat Halwa, which is one of the most popular stores for getting and sampling some of the halwa. So what I can see in front of me is that there's something which is made of fig, and then there are more varieties. So I apparently obviously knew of the Omani halwa, but I didn't know that there are so many varieties, and I'm sure that these also depend from region to region. So I'm going to be sampling some halwa and also taking back some home. Okay, now this is not a place that I would recommend you guys come and put it on your itinerary, but मैं vicinity में थी तो मेरा आना बनता था. What you see behind me is the Royal Hospital of Muscat, where I was born many years ago. And मुझे यहाँ आके बहुत ही ज़्यादा nostalgic feel हो रहा है for obvious reasons. But मैं बहुत छोटी थी तभी, obviously I was just born, so I don't have very starking memories of this place. But I do know कि this is where my parents had got me. And I have something very special actually. I have a picture of myself from when I was born, right here in the in the ward of the Muscat Hospital, and it feels so amazing so many years later to come here and hold this right out here. This is like वो कहते हैं ना, like a full whole circle. It just feels so wholesome. It feels so nice to come back to the places where you've spent your childhood. Now, something that binds the Omani people and brings out the traditional side of the Sultanate is definitely the flavors, which is something that the Omanis are extremely proud of. And there's no better way to learn more about the local food and the culture than by indulging in an afternoon of local Omani food. So take note of the floor seating, something that is pretty much observed here in Oman. And if you're to do this traditionally, you will be seated down too, mostly using bare hands to eat. The massive menu has many of the nation's traditional favorites and is an excellent place to learn more about Omani cooking. Spiced rice dishes, grilled meats and vegetable stews are obviously prominent on the menu. When it comes to Oman, every effort has been put in the right direction of boosting not just tourism, but also making the lives of the people living in the country comfortable and most efficient. And a great example of this is the Al Bustan village, a gated neighborhood where residents are surrounded by world-class services like educational institutions, a recreation center, everything you need to work and play in style. But as a tourist, that's not what may attract you the most. Something else may catch your attention if you're in the area, and that is the way this locality has been designed. It's rightly referred to as the Santorini of Muscat. With your golden sands and crystal waters, beaches of Muscat are some of the best places to watch the sunset in Oman. And it would be sinful to not sit by one to spend a calm evening. Muscat is a mystical city which is rich in culture and history. It felt like I got a true sense of authentic Arabia, and Muscat probably is the best way to get inducted into the Omani culture and history before you delve further into the lengths and breadths of the country. It's time to say goodbye to the capital city and head towards an island so magical and gorgeous I had to make a visit to find out more.